Welcome back to another episode of Expertly Unqualified. Well, welcome back. If you're new here, we want to welcome you in. We are not experts, hence why we're unqualified. So each week you can join us discussing different topics. If you missed the first couple weeks, we did a lot of coffee related things. If you missed, I guess it was a few weeks ago, you should totally look up the video I posted on our Instagram at Expertly Unqualified. And it is my dad and uncle making chicken noises through the Starbucks drive-thru while I'm working drive-thru. No matter how many times I watch that video, I start laughing. Yeah, so if you need a good laugh, go check that out. I'm trying to think. Last week we did one on procrastination. So we're trying to be proactive and not procrastinate as much. I can definitely tell you that it's not going as well as planned, but that's okay. But yeah, we're super excited to have you here again. You can check us out on Instagram at Expertly Unqualified. You can also find us on YouTube. Obviously, if you're watching this, you're probably on YouTube, or I guess if you're listening, you're on Spotify. And we're going to work towards getting Apple Podcasts as well. So we have that on our radar. Promise we didn't forget about the people from Apple Podcasts. But Holly, do you want to take over?
This week is going to be all about Pinterest boards and what they say about you.
Yes. Please go back to 2015 when you were on Pinterest all the time. Or I don't even know when Pinterest started, but I guess it was way back when. I still use it occasionally now, and we just thought it would be a fun topic to kind of discuss. And we have a couple of stories to go on with it.
Oh, yes. So I was obsessed with Pinterest when it first came out.
Yeah.
I got early access, I remember. I thought it was so cool.
I mean, when you have your Pinterest, it's like, I know it's qualified as social media. And in one sense, yes, it's social and media. But in my head, it just doesn't seem like it's a social media compared to like a Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. So I've always found that interesting. But yeah, Pinterest is like a different breed. And I feel like if you have one, you know what we're talking about. If you don't worry. Maybe we'll entice you to get a Pinterest account, or maybe we'll clearly explain why you shouldn't be having one. But before we get started into Pinterest, we have the most important weekly stats you didn't need to know, but now you know. We tried to shorten it into an acronym, but I can't even remember the acronym. So you get to hear the full-blown thing. Weekly stats you didn't need to know, but now you know, are very important stats we have every week. And each week they differ drastically. So Holly, do you want to share your weekly stat?
All right. So I knew I was obsessed with Pinterest back when I was in middle school and high school. But I never tallied up how many Pinterest boards I had until today.
Oh my gosh.
I have 80 Pinterest boards. And the most pins on one of my boards was 1,000.
Oh my gosh. That's a lot of pins. So for those of you who haven't opened Pinterest in 4 years, or maybe you've never had a Pinterest account, you can create kind of like folders that you can pin and save things to. So for example, you might have brunch ideas and they're all in one folder. And you might have just holidays or some of the more general categories. Holly has 80 of them. Oh my gosh. So she's very organized because that's a lot of different categories to have. And probably have really good things saved if you're that organized. Mine, I don't think I have that many. They are somewhat organized, but then I'll save random stuff in random folders. So it's not as organized as yours. But that's impressive. We want to hear from you. Does anybody have more than 80?
For some reason, one of my favorite things has always just been like file organization.
Okay.
Kind of lame, but I guess it makes sense from going into IT.
No, I mean, that makes sense. You like to be organized in certain ways. Now, is all that stuff organized, but then stuff in like your room organized too?
No, it's not.
That's what happens to me. I'll be organized in one part of my life, but then I'll claim to be I am organized overall.
Yeah, just my computer's organized and nothing else. Oh, and then I'll play those video games with like lots of organization.
There you go.
I'll never organize my actual home.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
And tune in next week. Here's a little secret. It's about organization. Okay, so I have 2 weekly stats of this week. It's kind of fun. So my boyfriend and I just got back from a trip. We went to Boston for a couple of days, and then we drove up to Bar Harbor. I'm not going to try to attempt the Boston accent because it is terrible. We went up to Bar Harbor, Maine, where Acadia National Park is, and we spent a couple days there. And then we drove down to Portland, Maine and hung out there for a few days. And so during this trip, we didn't rent a car in Boston. And then obviously we're at a national park. So we did a lot of walking. I didn't think anything was like too extreme. And I don't know how accurate everything is, but I do have my Apple Watch. And so I did a little bit of tallying of all the walking we did. So we were basically gone for a week. So in that week, again, this is vacation, and this is what makes me laugh, is that this was vacation. In that week, we walked 96,390 steps, which came out to be approximately 42.55 miles walked, which is just insane because that's more than a marathon that we walked.
Almost 2 whole marathons.
I know. That's crazy. I'm proud to say that I am not sore from walking all that way. And I did have really good shoes, so I feel like you need to have proper footwear to be able to do that. And then I don't know about you, but sometimes when I get back from a vacation, I need like extra time to relax from the vacation, you know? And then my other weekly stat, I don't know how to quantify this, but maybe I should say the layers of sunscreen I've had to put on in the past week. If you can't tell from watching this on YouTube, I basically blend into the white walls behind me. Okay. I am very pale. I don't tan very well. I sunburn very easily. I got sunburnt through the foggiest day ever in Maine, like scorched playing mini golf, all things. But this is hopefully you can see it a little bit, maybe not. But if you look here, I randomly got sunburned right here. Partly in the fact that I think I was distracted while putting on my sunscreen. But I was out swimming, right? I put sunscreen on my back and on the front. And then I think I got distracted and forgot to put it on my arms. But then if I completely forgot to put it on my arms, I don't know how this random patch was the only thing that got burnt. I just don't question it at this point. It's just who I am. I use spray sunscreen and I don't like to rub it in, but sometimes I do because it probably doesn't stay if you don't rub it in. And I'll have fingerprints on my arms from where I rubbed it in. The worst is when you get your part on your head sunburned. It does not feel good. I've had that multiple times. I've gotten sunburned through the sunroof of a car. I was sitting in the car waiting for somebody running into the store and I was just sitting there. My thighs got sunburned. If you remember the old style of softball socks, they kind of had a crisscross pattern. And so one time I got sunburned through my softball socks. So I had a crisscross pattern on the back of my calf. But I'm proud to say that I finally remembered to put sunscreen on when it was really sunny. Sometimes I believe that I won't burn, but that's just a lie. And I did find something which I didn't really know existed. My aunt has had it, but I just never looked into getting it. It is mineral powder sunscreen. So I guess there's different types of sunscreen, obviously, but mineral powder sunscreen, it comes in like a little applicator, kind of like if you're putting on makeup. And it's really easy to apply. It smells good and it's not greasy. So when I'm outside and if I have a part in my hair, I don't like spraying sunscreen on my head because it makes my hair really greasy. But this powder sunscreen is great because you can just put it on there. It's not greasy at all. I've also been using it for my face and I have very sensitive skin. So it's been really helpful. So highly recommend that. And for all pale people out there, make sure you put it on sunscreen.
I'll have to try the powder sunscreen because I'm a sunscreen all year kind of girl because I
need to get better at that.
Yeah, my worst sunburn I've ever gotten. I used to go to UIUC in Urbana-Champaign and I went to a football game once and I put on a temporary tattoo of an eye on my cheek.
Oh god.
I got a sunburn around it. So I had like the outline of an eye.
Like the letter I.
Yeah, like the letter I tattooed on or like sunburned on my face for a week.
Oh no.
So I've always been really careful after that. But
that reminds me, it's not related to sunburn or sunscreen. But one time I fell asleep with a smiley face that was drawn on my hand with Sharpie. And I fell asleep like this. And then I had this smiley face on my face for like a day. Fun times. What you've learned this week. Get your steps in. Wear your sunscreen. And hopefully you're as organized as Holly is on her Pinterest board. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, since we've wrapped up the weekly stats, let's dive into all about Pinterest, what it says about you, all those things. So you want to start us off?
All right, so we're gonna go into what your Pinterest board says about you. So there's different types of boards, different types of people, but we're just gonna go over some of like the more common Pinterest boards and what they say about you.
Yeah, and then we'll dive into some of our favorites that we have saved.
Yes, oh yes.
I do have to say one thing for Pinterest is I tend to pin things that may not be realistic. And I feel like a lot of people do. Kind of like a dream board per se. And some people are better at making Pinterest boards than others. I would say mine's mostly food. Then I'll share some of the categories, but some of them looking back, I'm like, what was I doing with this category? The funniest thing though was when I was younger, I wasn't allowed to have social media. And so I never had my own Pinterest account. But I don't even remember when this was, maybe fourth grade, do you think? Like,
Oh yeah.
2011 when it came out or something. So my mom had one and I was intrigued by what is this Pinterest? And so she shared her account with me. I've taken it over. Why haven't I gotten my own account? No idea.
Hey, she can make a new account for herself too.
She could. Nah, I usually I don't know. I just made it my own. I said, okay.
But yeah, so I started using Pinterest because I was too socially nervous to use other social media. But yeah, I really liked it. So
yeah, it's nice. It's like you're kind of in your own world, and then if you want to see what other people's ideas are, you can easily just go over there. And obviously, who doesn't love to cook or bake or look at food or different recipes and stuff? That's what I like to see.
So we're going to go into what your Pinterest board says about you. So there's lots of different, basic common Pinterest boards. So we're just going to talk about what they say about you.
Because don't you want to know?
Don't you know?
I'm curious to see if I have some of these that we're talking about. Probably not, but yes. All right, what do we got?
So first, we're going to go the dreamer board. Mansions, dream weddings, May goals. What do you think that says about you?
How they make it a dream board. I feel like you have a goal and you're going to go towards it. I always found it fun, especially around prom time in high school, looking at different dresses, pinning hairstyles, nails, makeup, all those different certain things. So it's kind of nice to have something to look forward to. So I think if you have a bunch of those saved, you're very excited for what's to come and you're always looking towards the future.
So when I was looking back over my Pinterest, I haven't used it much in the past couple years. So I had a couture dress board, over 1,000 pins on it. And I was thinking back and I was like,
what are the odds you're actually going to go back and look at all those pins?
I know. Or just even just be able to buy one couture dress.
Oh my God.
The odds. So
yeah,
I was a little bit surprised I had that many.
You even like wearing dresses like that much?
I did in high school.
Oh, I was going to say.
I haven't in years, no.
I like dresses, but you got the issues with figuring out what bra to wear.
Yeah. Let alone saving over 1,000 dresses.
That's a lot of dresses.
All right. So next up is the I Have It Together board. Color-coded calendars and productivity hacks. What does that say about you?
You're type A.
Oh yeah, you're type A. So not only are you organized, you have organized boards on how to be organized.
I could tell you my boards are not like that at all. I did have some tips and tricks for when I was going into college that I found interesting. Did I ever look back and use them? I don't think so. But yeah, if you have that board, you like to be organized. Your house is probably spick and span. I want to be like that, but I don't know if I'll get there, but maybe it'll just take some time.
One day.
I can hope.
All I can hope. Next up is the aspiring chef board.
Oh, this is definitely me.
Oh, this is me too. What does that say about you?
You love food. You like cooking. You like baking. You like trying new recipes. I've come to find out most of the time when I go on vacations, mostly focus on, all right, where are we trying food? What are we going to eat? I come home from work. What are we eating? I promise I don't have a food obsession, but I do like trying new recipes and different items, dinners, desserts. I have a very big sweet tooth. Actually, I do have a couple pins that I could share that I've actually made and are really good. Sometimes at work, I'll bring in some baked goods and I get all these little nicknames. I got Betty Crocker cookbook for Christmas one year, so I've been using that. Again, different than Pinterest, but maybe I've pinned some of those recipes. So now one of my nicknames is Little Betty Crocker at work.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I'll admit I am obsessed with food, but okay, so most of my Pinterest boards are related to food. And I was looking through them and some of them are like horrifically specific. Like I have one just for chicken.
Don't you have one just for bread?
Yeah, I have one just for bread, for just chicken. One for
Soup.
soup, and one for snacks and sides. One just for pasta.
Ooh, that would be good. See, when I get too many categories, then that would make me really organized, but I feel like there's just too many categories. That's me personally. And again, I'm just trying to look for things quick and easy, like, oh, okay, here all my dinners.
Yeah, see, that's why I have a crock pot board for meals I just make in the crock pot.
I think I have a crock pot one, and I started an Instapot one.
Oh, yeah.
But it only has one pin in it, so that doesn't really do anything. I think I have one for meal prep. I'm trying to think of some of the others, but yeah, definitely mostly like dinner, desserts. Those are my main categories.
Like a reasonable amount of boards.
The one thing that bothers me though is when you find a good recipe and you go click on it to view like the ingredients and how to make it. There are 85 different ads on this page. You can't click the X without clicking into the ad. It's not good, but I love the button where it says jump to recipe. Yes, please take me to the recipe right away.
I love the jump to recipe button, and like recently I just started to press the print recipe button. I don't actually print the recipe.
Oh, so you get a print preview?
Yeah, so I just print preview it, and it doesn't like to go to the actual print preview menu, but it's just the recipe and like no other blog post.
I've never even thought about that, and that would save so much time.
And it's so easy because I don't have to like go through anything else.
Do you ever do the thing where you click into a recipe you're making it, and you're like, okay, I've memorized the rest of the ingredients and the rest of how to make it. And then you lock your phone or something, walk away, and you can't remember anything. Yeah. So you have to go back through all the ads and stuff. And I'm like, I should have just screenshotted the recipe.
Although I will say Pinterest did make it a lot easier to keep recipes organized. Because like I have a big family and they love sharing recipes. And like my mom and my aunts, they always have huge, very organized like boxes of recipes.
No, even on Pinterest too.
I think some of them started using Pinterest, but just like all of the physical recipes being organized, I couldn't do that.
No, it's nice to just pin and then say, I want it in this category.
Yeah.
I want it in that category. But speaking of family using Pinterest, I'm going to shout out my Aunt Janet and my cousin Kim. I know you guys listen to this podcast every week, so thank you for listening. They love using Pinterest. I love sending them, hey, I saw this pin. It looks delicious. Here's that. Hey, I saw this. I think you might like it. The best thing is my mom's family is rather large, and when we have family gatherings, it's not stated out loud, but it's kind of just well known that everyone's trying to be the best cook or best baker. Like each family member of my mom's, I feel like brings their certain items when we come and have a meal together. So my Aunt Janet and I are usually one of the ones who brings dessert. So there's like a debate of like who's the best baker, or like, you know what, we're on the level playing field, I do have to say, or at least I hope. Her desserts are always delicious though. The funniest thing though is whenever we get together with her family or my mom's family and she said, oh, I'm bringing a dessert, I don't text her to see what dessert she's making. I don't wait to see what she's making. I go and open Pinterest and see what's the last thing she pinned, and then I say, oh, I know she's bringing lemon bars or something so funny.
That's so smart.
I know. So I don't even have to talk to her, text her, nothing. I just know. And every time she laughs at that.
That's pretty smart.
I'm like, oh, did you bring some lemon bars for dessert? And she's like, how did you know? A birdie told me.
You have an inside scoop.
The inside scoop. Yes. Yes.
The I'm an artist board. DIY crafts, interior design, sewing, anything else. What does that say about you?
You're probably really good at crafts.
Oh, yeah.
I have some crafts saved, and I mostly used them when I was babysitting over the summer with 3 little kids. You gotta find something fun to do, something easy to do. But if you have really specific, like my cousin has stuff for crocheting or quilting or knitting, and she's really good at all of them, so I'm like, all right, that's for you. I think they look really cool, but I probably wouldn't pin it just because I knew probably be a little bit out of my reach, but I definitely have some crafts. But if you have that, you're really good at it. You're aspiring to be an artist and you just enjoy art.
Oh yeah, my sister's really good with arts and crafts. I used to like them more, but I'm not that good at them. I'll be honest.
I like specific things like calligraphy, making homemade cards is one of my favorite things to do. I like doing that. I can do like a scrapbook. I don't think I can crochet, knit. I can do a tie blanket.
Oh yeah, those are fun.
Those are really fun. But yeah, so if you have that pinned, A plus work.
I'll say I have a ton of craft pins. I've never made any of them.
I have paper quilling pins. I don't remember why. I know I did it in high school once, but I don't know why I pinned that. Yeah, I don't know. So you have it. It's good. All right, Holly, what do you think the self-care board person says? You got spa inspo. Maybe you got nail colors of the season or the year. You got homemade face mask recipes. Just all these self-care things.
I feel like you're either amazing in self-care and you're using them to bring to your nail artist, or you're terrible at self-care. You never do it. I'm not sure.
There's no in between for this.
I just don't see that there's an in between.
No.
Yeah. Because like I know some people, they have like so many like nail pins. And like they actually follow through with them.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, what color? I think this one. And then you realize you got like the same one as before. Yeah. If you got self-care and you use it, that's wonderful. If you pin it in hopes that you'll have it, if you're in the right direction, you're taking a step in the right direction. I don't think I have much of that on my board.
This also might sound insane, but I used to, so I have like fitness and yoga boards.
Oh my God, I do too.
Out like using Pinterest fitness, like circuits, or using like Pinterest yoga flows.
My favorite was I was scrolling through my boards and I found one. Well, one of them was like fitness. And obviously it's probably 50 pins of how to get a six-pack in 8 weeks or whatever. It's like, do this every day to get shredded. Have I done any of them? No. Have I looked at every single one and been like, that's too easy? Have you seen the ones where it's like maybe a push-up challenge or plank challenge I've done before? Where it's like the first day, do a 20-second plank. Easy. Do I have the consistency to go through it all? No. The other thing that made me laugh was I found a board for cycling, which really confused me years later as of today looking at it. Like, why in the world do I have this? Yes, I've done spin classes. Yes, I have a bike. Yes, I've ridden a bike. Why do I have this? And then I remembered when COVID started, I wasn't going to the gym or anything, right? Everyone was in the house. And I was like, I need something to do. So I got a foldable stationary bike. Did I use it all that much? No. Has it gone to a new home and it's being used more? Yes. But that's what it was for. I had no idea. I couldn't remember. There's that one. So yeah, if you have them and use them, that's great. I have them, I just don't use them.
But yeah, so like now whenever I work out, I usually just go on runs or like go to the gym. So I'll be like, okay, it's time to go put up my music and I'm good to go. I just remember like looking back, I was in high school, I'll be like, all right, time to work out. Pull up Pinterest so you know what to do. But yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's useful for all these different things, right? You can have food, you can have travel, arts, workout. If you follow that, that's great. It's nice to have. The issue I have sometimes, especially with working out, is figuring out what I should be doing, like what I actually want to do. I'd rather have somebody tell me to do, okay, you're going to do squats for this amount of time or whatever. So it's nice having that, but then sometimes I just don't feel like following it. So it's kind of a moot point. So yeah.
All right, the next one, the DIY but lazy board. Minute home projects that take 3 hours. What did they say about you?
Oh, 5 minutes that take 3 hours? Okay, this one, you have a lot of stuff to get done. You don't have a lot of time to do it, but you just want to get it done. Or maybe make one small improvement. So good for you for finding something to improve. Good for you for figuring out, okay, let's start small. But man, if it took 3 hours and you thought it was going to take 5 minutes, that's going to be very rough. Very rough.
I remember DIY projects on the internet started off pretty simple. And then in the last couple years, they got pretty insane. Where they're just like, let's make shoes, but with hot glue.
Or my favorite is when you're looking at it and it looks simple, and then they skip 5 steps, and they're like, "You're done!" And I'm like, "This is nothing like what it should be or what the picture shows." So
Well, it's like, this will be really simple if you have $100 worth of specialized tools.
yeah, that's kind of like when there's food recipes and there's a healthier take on things. I love that. If you can make a recipe healthier, why not? But then it's some random like buckwheat flour or something random that you don't have, or the ingredients just don't sound good, or you need to go out to a specialty store to find all the ingredients. It's just not worth it.
All right. So, what does this Pinterest board say about you, the health guru board? Meal preps, workouts, and motivation.
Oh my gosh. I think I need to pull up some of my motivational pins. They're very embarrassing. But I do have meal prep, workout, motivation. You're using Pinterest to organize your daily life.
Yeah.
You want to have your meals prepped Sundays? Hey, while you're listening to our podcast, that might be something perfect to do. Meal prep, you want to be fit. You want to eat healthy, be fit. You want to be motivated. I feel like most people probably have some sort of board that's like this. And hopefully you can follow through on it.
Oh, yeah. No, it's definitely nice for like a starting spot and lots of ideas.
Yeah, it's nice having a place full of ideas and then a lot of comments or blog posts or whatever about this works well, this doesn't work well. So that's nice to have. I feel like there's been more of a health swing over the past few years. So there's probably a lot in your Pinterest board about this. Let me go grab my phone and we will dive into the most ridiculous board. Okay, so we decided it would be really fun to go on our Pinterest and read you some of the most ridiculous boards that we have, or maybe some of the most ridiculous pins that we have. Mine, I'd like to point out, I have quotes, okay, motivational quotes. Some of these, embarrassing as it is, I liked them so much, I went literally to like Walgreens and printed them out and had them on my wall because I thought it was cool wall decor. Okay. I have too many to go through, but some of my favorite, let me find them. Of course, I have softball memes. I have a bunch of those. I told myself I would teach myself how to play piano on my little keyboard that I had during COVID. So I have screenshots of songs with each letter.
Oh, like the key.
Which key you're supposed to hit. I had that. Dorm ideas. I was so excited to go off to college and have my own dorm room. Again, cycling. I don't remember what that was for. Paper quilling. I did use that in high school.
So, some of the funniest I've had, I have an apartment board. I remember the first apartment I've ever gotten. I spent so much time decorating my room.
Oh, really?
Making it so pretty. But like, I feel like most people who rent move like every year or so. And I've been renting for at least 8 years. And honestly, I just don't even try to decorate that much anymore.
I need to find this one. With hair. That was super fun for prom to look at. Crafts. I actually did use most of these. So I had silly little quotes, kind of like, I thought I had my life together. And then I was like, wow, that was a nice 45 seconds. Or another one about when you love it when your friends respond to your crazy text with something like even crazier. So we had a lot of that one. So yeah, we want to hear from you. What is your favorite board and the ones that you actually use? And what's the most outrageous one you can't even remember why you created it? I do have to say, when I'm on Pinterest and my boyfriend is looking at all the pins I've pinned, he's like, you've never made any of these. I can probably say I've probably made at least 7 out of all of them. So one day I'll get there. And I like to cook, so would you rather have me not pin and not cook? I don't know. What's your favorite board and what's your most random one?
So I think it's really funny that I made separate Pinterest boards for date ideas and hangout ideas for your friends.
They can all fit in one.
I know, I had to make separate ones for some reason. I also like how I made different boards for different editions of Animal Crossing.
Oh my gosh.
My favorite is that I have sewing boards, even though I've never made a sewing project.
Again, you're one step closer to becoming a master sewer.
Oh yes, one step closer.
Oh my gosh. How about, did you ever do this when it's like close to the new year or Maybe it's on New Year's Day when you have it off and you're just like, let me find motivation for the whole entire year. I've done that before. You've got a lot of really good long quotes. Maybe we should post some of these.
Oh yeah, I can post my most ridiculous inspirational quote too.
Maybe we should do that every week. We just post an inspirational quote you didn't need to know. Yeah. But again, in the comments, we want to hear about what board you love. What board is the most ridiculous? I think mine was cycling. I literally don't cycle. I have a bike. That's about it. It has 2 pins in it. But yeah.
And then let us know too, what Pinterest trends do you think are ridiculous? Whether it's the donut walls at weddings that became super popular, or whatever else.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to know. And of course, like always, we are going to end our episode with our unqualified rant and advice. Do we have advice this week, or is it just ranting? Do we have advice or just rants?
Just rants.
Just rants. We're a little angry this week.
So the heat has got us moving a little slow this week.
Hence why my hair is up. Oh, I knew this would happen. Our lovely little camera decided to move. You're doing gymnastics right now.
How does this look? Does it look okay? How do I stop him?
Okay, he's good. Now let me just do this. Is that better?
Oh yes.
Sorry if our video is all over the place if you're watching on YouTube. Promise we don't try to talk with our hands or anything. We just have a very sensitive camera that we use. It's honestly a great little camera, but oh my god, if you do different hand signals, like if you hold up a stop sign with your hand, it's gonna start following you around the room. It's just a roller coaster, an adventure. But let's get on to our rant of the week. We have no advice for you. Hopefully you can get some advice from your Pinterest boards.
So this week, since we're moving a little bit slow because of the heat, we're going to talk about what is an acceptable temperature to set your AC to.
Yes, I feel like this is a big debate, a debate over the thermostat. Who gets to set the thermostat? Who can adjust it? I feel like it's totally different when you go to a hotel versus your house.
Yeah.
So my house is pretty covered by trees, so if it's not too hot out and there's a nice breeze, we usually don't have to turn on the air conditioning. We only have to turn on the air conditioning really if it's really humid, which it has been lately, if it gets really hot. And when it gets turned on, I'm lucky if I can have it set to 75. I get yelled at if I turn it down too low. And I would say if it's not too hot outside and it's a nice breeze, usually a comfortable temperature actually in my house is about 77. The minute you add humidity in there, I always, this doesn't make sense to me, but I want to know if it makes sense to somebody else. I always run cold, but then I don't want to be hot in the summer. So I'd rather have the air conditioning on and wear a sweatshirt than it being like stuffy in there.
Oh yeah, especially because the AC gets rid of the humidity.
Yeah. The other problem I have is my room is right at the end of where the AC is sent or whatever, so my room is always so stuffy. I'd rather be cold when sleeping. You want to sleep in a cold room, not a hot one.
Yeah, I usually like to keep it set to 76, but right now I have window units that don't have.
So you're just
like,
hoping and praying that it's cold enough.
So I just like have to guess continuously and just play with the knob to decide what will be an acceptable temperature.
I was gonna say, so in the Midwest, right, we have crazy weather. One day it might be really hot, the next day it might be freezing cold, like 30-degree difference. The issue I have is I'll complain when it's 30 degrees outside. I wish it was warmer. I'll also complain when it's 90 degrees outside. I like the heat, but I wish it was cooler. And then I have to remind myself, at least it's not winter time right now. And then the other problem I have during the summertime, I guess this is a really long rant, but during the summertime, right, you go to a restaurant and you sit inside, they have the air conditioning on, but then you need to bring a sweater or a jean jacket or something because then I'm freezing cold. Does anyone else have this issue, or is it just me? Restaurants freezing cold, always gotta carry a jacket around. You feel like an idiot carrying a jacket around when it's 95 degrees outside.
I always feel like I'm freezing in restaurants, especially like when you're sitting down drinking water or a soda. It's always so cold in there.
You can't win. But we want to know, what is the proper temperature to have your AC set at? I don't think there's one set answer, but I'm curious to know. I'll set up a poll on Instagram and see what's the proper temperature. Well, hopefully you enjoyed our episode about Pinterest. If you don't have Pinterest, maybe you got inspired to create one. If you have Pinterest, maybe you got uninspired. Whatever the case is, we thank you for watching and or listening. Check out our website, thepodmates.com. We've been working really hard on it, and it should be pretty much all set if you were to go check it out right now. We have blog posts. You can see previous episodes. You can potentially see a sneak preview of what topic we'll have next week. Obviously, we kind of spilled the beans. So if you're looking to be more organized, come back next week. And yeah,
That's a wrap.
all right. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye. All right. That's a wrap on our episode of Expertly Unqualified. If you stuck around this long,
You're either extremely loyal, extremely bored, or extremely caffeinated. Either way, we love that for you.
make sure to follow us wherever you get your podcasts and leave a review if you laughed, related, or were personally attacked by something we said. Find new episodes and more on our website, thepodmates.com.
And don't forget, follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Expertly Unqualified. Send us your stories, questions, or weird hot takes. You might just hear them on a future episode.
We are, as always,
Expertly Unqualified. Conversation's so fun, you'll forget we have no idea what we're doing. Do you want to say it's the Podmates?
Was it Podmates Production?